That $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill today, 220 to 211 along party lines, with one Democrat, Congressman Jared Golden from Maine, joining Republicans to vote no. But how did New Yorkers feel about it? Let's check in with Alex Kramer for some instant reaction.
Any idea what is in this bill?
No.
I think it's going to be a great bill.
So you're happy with everything that's been in it?
Yes, I think there should have been more.
I think it's certainly Democratic leaning. I do think that it is important to get this economy going again.
We have to invest for the future, and I think that if this is an investment to the future, then this is it.
California is going to get $42.2 billion when they already had a surplus of money. What is your initial reaction to that?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm not really surprised at anything they do. Everything they do is purely emotional. It's not rational. There's billions coming to New York, and what have they done? They haven't done anything with it.
Those money is supposed to go to the small businesses and hardworking guys. I mean, why? The question is why? What is that? Like, what's the purpose? What is that going to serve? So if that money is being used for something other than actually to help regrow the economy and help sustain the American people, then what's the purpose of that?
And people who are out of business, who are really hurting, not people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars and are still working. Oh, I am just going nuts with this.
Certainly some sharply divided opinions from the people we spoke to, just like what we've seen in Congress. Now, whether or not Joe Biden can bring Republicans and Democrats together, like he promised, and maybe some voters too, is a question yet to be resolved. This has been Alex Kramer reporting from New York City.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Well, now let's turn to our poll vault, a recent Rasmussen poll asking likely voters how concerned they are over President Biden's lack of presidential briefings. Take a look at this. 52% saying that they are concerned compared to 46% saying that they are not. Now, when asked if they are confident Biden is physically and mentally capable to be president, 48% say that they're confident compared to 50% saying that they are not. So let's bring back in our panel to talk a little bit more about this. So, Anna Paulina, do these numbers surprise you at all?
Not at all, but I actually, even seeing Rasmussen report on it the way that they are, I realize that I think more Democrats are starting to become concerned about the health of the president. And honestly, I think in the past, many conservatives tend to make memes and kind of poke fun at it. But it's very disturbing because clearly there's some form of cognitive issue. And he's the president of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, it is concerning. And, we've seen example after example of gaffes or forgetting things. Andrew, do you think that it is something that we do need to be concerned about? And I had asked this the other day, just in terms of outsiders looking in, other countries watching it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when he's forgetting his Secretary of Defense names right there, and it's not a difficult name, it's a two-syllable name, Secretary Austin. I mean, it's just, what else is Joe Biden forgetting? And you're absolutely right. When you talk about other countries and other world leaders, they know that they're going to get somebody that they think that they can push over. I really think that it's that simple. I mean, President Trump understood strength and what that meant for American foreign policy. I think world leaders have a very different view of who they're dealing with currently in the White House than they did a few months ago.
Yeah. In terms of domestic legislation, George, he is set to pass his first big effort, which would be this Friday if he does sign the American Rescue Bill, the COVID relief bill, whichever you want to call it, that did pass today in the House. It is headed to President Biden's desk. Let's get your opinion on some of what is in it. We can pull this up because the majority of it, as we said, does not have to do with COVID at all. In fact, 91% doesn't. It gives $21,000 for federal employees to stay home. It gives $25,000 to bonuses for state government workers. I believe that we have this on a full screen that we can show people. $50 million to Planned Parenthood, $200 million to museums and library services, and then $600 million to the city of San Francisco. And then it just goes on and on and on from there, George.
Well, it's one of the longest Christmas lists you'll ever see sent off to Santa Claus. And since the Democrats control the Senate as well as the House and the presidency, Santa Claus answers every single request for a gift. And I go back to Maggie Thatcher and Ronald Reagan and the comments about socialism works until you run out of other people's money. And then until 2022, the Democrats are going to do everything they can to run through our money.
Yeah, and Bob, I was trying to think of who said this specifically earlier today, but I saw a comment yesterday from the Biden administration, and they said, don't worry about the overall bill, just worry about the payments. And that would be the main concern.
Sounds like we have to pass it to find out what's in it.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen. We're going to find out what's in it. There's a lot of pork in it. Here's my concern if we talk about Joe Biden and his cognitive abilities. He can answer all the questions. If he just comes out, takes answers, gives good answers, everybody says, okay, mentally he's there. Otherwise, it does make me wonder, who is running this effort? Because we are seeing a wish list of everything. We've seen that in the COVID relief bill, which is not COVID related. It's a spending bill with all kinds of pork in it. We have H.R. 1, which is a wish list from Democrats as far as how they could control voting in the states. I don't think it's constitutional. We'll find out. You have an infrastructure plan they're going to try to put forward. So you have all these wish lists, and I think they knew very well that Joe Biden was a very likable guy in that basement in Wilmington, and he did get elected. I'm not saying he doesn't have he didn't have enough abilities to get through the election cycle. Obviously, he did because he got elected. But I don't know what's going on now, and it seems like there's a party behind him that's ticking off all the things they want.
Right. Well, that was definitely evident from day one when he started doing all of the executive orders that clearly had been planned ahead of time. It wasn't like they just did this all of a sudden, Andrew.
Yeah, and the governing strategy really wasn't any different than the campaigning strategy, right? It was we're going to hide the candidate and we're going to ultimately push the agenda for him, and we'll roll him out when we need to roll him out, but we're not going to give him one extra minute of time with the media that isn't necessary. Very different from our last president, who we couldn't contain him in the White House. He wanted to talk to the media. He wanted to get his message out there to the American people. Not so much with President Biden.
Yeah, Anna Paulina, we have President Biden. He is slated to address the nation. I think it is tomorrow night in reference to the one-year anniversary of COVID and the lockdowns. Do you think that maybe the idea behind that might change and maybe he will take some questions?
No, I think that they're going to continue to hold this off as long as possible. It's becoming increasingly clear that they don't even want him to answer questions or to talk to people when he's doing his press engagements outside of the White House. And so I think that what the American people need to be doing, especially if you are a reporter, especially if you are in media, ask yourself, is this someone that you want? Is this the kind of shadow government behind him that you want running our country? It's supposed to be open. It's supposed to be the people's house, and it doesn't feel like that currently.
Yeah, George, we have about a minute left. We had a Democratic pundit on just yesterday, and he really went above and beyond to try to refuse to admit that, I mean, it's pretty evident there is some sort of issue going on.
Well, so much for bipartisanship and unity, right? That was the big call initially, and we're seeing that the shadow government behind the president is calling shot after shot after shot, and I want to tip my cap to the Democrat in Maine who voted against this pork barrel nonsense. At least somebody stood up straight and tall and was brave in the process, but we're not going to see a whole lot of bravery in the Democratic Party over the next year and a half. We're going to see a lot of hackery and slush fund and pork barrel spending and things that are not good for the American people.
Hackery. I don't even know what it means, but I like that.
But it definitely sounds like it would fit this administration moving forward. I don't know. Hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come, because we don't have any more money left.
Yeah, we've been past that for a while, haven't we? All right, panel, stand by. Folks, we wanted to remind you.